slightly different video this week. This one's going to feature my gravel bike, and from the start to the finish. So the whole episode from when I order to putting it together and finally getting to ride it. So the first question, why a gravel bike? Well, it started out with me and my riding buddies. We're just very, very casual and not serious. We just ride road bikes, and one day my friend made a very silly choice of riding his pretty good carbon specialized bike into the Philadelphia city. Anyone that knows anything about Philadelphia knows they'll steal your garbage, so that bike had no chance and it was stolen. So he was in the market for a new bike, and he said to us, hey, I'm going to buy a gravel bike so then I can ride with you guys and ride gravel. And he was warned it's a bad idea because the gravel bike can't keep up with the road bike, but he went and did it anyway, came riding with us and got dropped constantly. And so he went and bought another road bike, so he ended up with two bikes, and this gravel bike he never used. It turned into his commuter that he rode to work and back each day. And he always sort of said, hey, you should buy a gravel bike so I can use this gravel bike so it's not going to waste. I was looking at buying a mountain bike actually, and I went to my local store and I was chatting to the guys down there, and they kind of turned me off mountain bikes. And so then I started to think, all right, I might buy a gravel bike because I just wanted to buy another bike. One of the main reasons for buying the bike was I wanted to play around. I wanted a bike that I could play around with and sort of learn some stuff on the go with. So there's this website that I always buy from called Bike Island. It's part of Bikes Direct, and they sell. Bike Island is the factory seconds of Bikes Direct. So I found this bike for $250. It's a gravel bike, and I thought I can buy this bike. It's $250. I play around with it, and I can go gravel riding with my friend. So very cheap, very budget option. The idea was that I'd probably only ride this thing 2 or 3 times a year, so I don't want to drop a lot of money on something that I'm not going to use. And the bike, as you can see from this picture, had this scrape on the crank arm. So that's why it was reduced to $250. I think the brand new price is something like $370 or $390, something like that. So I picked this bike up, and they ship pretty quickly. The box arrived within 5 days. At this stage, it was toward the end of November, so around Black Friday kind of time. And so I was hoping to have this thing riding by within a week. Put it together, and then my friend says with the gravel bike, hey, I got this spare set of wheels off my old road bike that are 11 speed. Do you want to grab them for like $50 for the set? So I thought, well, that's pretty good, because I'd been reading up on gravel bikes, and this one I bought was a 2x7, and most of them, the new ones, were 1x11. So I thought, maybe I can pick up these wheels. And this other idea that I had was, I always watch these YouTube videos from guys like Trace Velo that buy stuff from China and play around with it, like China group sets, and I'd always been curious to try China group sets. So yeah, sure, I'll take the wheels, and I might just get a group set and put that on it. But because I had 11-speed cassettes and so on lying around, get the wheels, and ordered the group sets and so on from China. So immediately the price of my bike is starting to go up. Turns out the wheels were just not compatible at all. Like I learned a ton about bikes in this whole episode, and this was kind of the first major thing. They came off a through-axle disc brake bike, when my bike was a quick release disc brake. There are ways to make them compatible, but it just proved too troublesome. So in the end, I decided to ditch the wheels. I sold them off for cost. Basically, got my $50 back. Ended up selling the wheels that came with it, except I kept the tires. The tires seemed to be all right. And I went with a mission to find these damn wheels that are extremely difficult to find, because I'd ordered the group set that had an 11-speed cassette. To find a disc brake quick release wheel that takes an 11-speed cassette is very, very tough. One of the good things was the China group set. The cassette was built for mountain bikes, so you can actually put the cassette on a 10-speed wheel. So I was shopping around for 10-speed disc brake quick release wheels, and I managed to find some on a Facebook marketplace, try and sell. And so what you're going to see now is basically the slow journey of getting rid of everything, because the only thing I kept on this bike was the disc brakes, the adapters, whatever you call the little bit that goes on the post. I kept those, and I kept the frame, and I stripped it and changed absolutely everything else. So this is my journey. Okay, so as you can see, I've got the bike on the bike stand to work on. I've never worked on a bike before. Disclaimer before I start. So one of the reasons I bought this bike is just play around and learn. So what my thinking is, I'm going to strip it first, take out all the crankset, remove the derailleur, the chain. What I'm going to do, because I want to hopefully reuse the cabling, so I'm going to see if it's possible to do it with leaving the cabling in. So I'll probably dismantle this quite early. You can see it's got these separate brakes on there. I'll take the brake cabling off, keep it on, so when I put the new ones on, the cable was already there. This thing here, I don't know if you can really tell, but you can see it's angled up. The stem, I've got a straight one as well. Haven't really decided which one I'm going to go with. I think I'm going to go with the straight one. Get rid of that. Then my new crankset comes tomorrow, so I can take this off. Obviously I don't want to have a stand on this bike, so that's going to be a spare stand. So basically all that's going to be left is the disc brake and the frame and the cables. I'm hoping to save the cables. So I'm just going to start with probably taking the chain and the derailleur and see if I can remove these cables up here. So one thing I think is obvious right away is these are the shifters. You can see the wiring here. They're only designed to come to about here, whereas obviously I'm getting wider bars. I think these are 40s, I'm getting 44s, so I was going to mount them on the shifter down here. So there's probably not enough cabling to stretch all the way around to there, so I might need to get a new cable for the rear derailleur. The brakes are going to be the same, I imagine, so I'm going to have to see, can I remove the rear brake line and use it for the front. It'll be too long, obviously I'll trim it down. But this brake here will work, so I'm guessing, I've never seen these sort of brakes before, so I'm guessing there's some sort of cable that goes through there, continues through here and goes down. So I'll pull that to pieces and see. I also saved these things. I don't know if they're the right lengths or not, but I thought may as well, just in case. I might save myself a few dollars. So I've got to cut the chain because this one doesn't have a quick link. Because it came off with 7-speed on the back, my mountain bike's a 7-speed. So I'll just use one of these tools to break the chain, try and keep it intact because I can use it on my mountain bike in the future. And then I'm almost there. So the rear derailleur and the front derailleur are off. That was dead simple. It was just a one screw for each. All that's left now is taking off this, I believe it's a square tapered crank. For this, I have to watch a YouTube video. And once I get this off, then the bike is fully stripped down to where I want it to be. So you can see the crankset's a square threaded one, so I had to undo some screws from inside here to get to this. Now I've got to use this device to basically screw this in and then drive this end part here down into that hole. And you can see there's some threads on the inside here that are going to pick that up and pull it out. This is kind of a real nuisance bottom bracket. Don't like to deal with this sort of thing, but I still will because it's probably saving me about 50 bucks from taking it to the shop. So mission accomplished. Finally out. I had to hit very, very hard with the hammer. Thank God this pedal wrench, the middle hole there, can fit it. So I basically put this over and belted it with the hammer. You can see it's kind of split the end. Bit disappointing. But tomorrow I'll go and get a bracket and insert that. I ended up going for standard Shimano Ultegra 68mm bottom bracket. that fits the new crankset that I got. Compared to the square taper, it's dead simple to install. You just use this one special tool. It costs like $9 or something from Amazon, or $2 or $3 from Aliexpress, and just tighten it to torque it to spec, and it's probably an easy 5-minute tops job. Give it a bit of lube. Nothing like the square bottom bracket. So you'll notice that I haven't really been showing you how I do these things. That's because I was basically learning as I did it. I'd watch a YouTube video. I wasn't going to bother posting those videos because you can go and see professionals on YouTube doing it that'll show you how to do these things if you wanted to know how to do it. This is more just about the process of putting the bike together. So my wheels are set, they're all ready to go. I've got the 1150 cassette on there. These are Roval set up tubeless. These challenge tires, I got them on the Black Friday sale for $11 each. So the really nice tubeless setup. I think the color scheme's pretty cool. Picked up the bottom bracket. The crankset's ready to go on. I've cleaned this all out. Can't really get a good look at the moment, but the bike's ready. The only thing I'm missing for the bike is the drop bars. I actually have the drop bars I was originally going to use, but I changed to a different one, so I've got to wait 2 weeks to get those. So I'm just going to put the crankset on now, hook the chain up and spin it. So it's pretty straightforward putting the crankset on. I just went ahead and put the wheel on just for now, just to get the chain and get to the spin. You can see it's slowly coming together. Just got to put the chain on, but it looks quite nice in there. It went on pretty clean. The only thing I wonder about is this here. There's no threads inside here, it's all smooth, whereas the other side you screw on a cap. If I can show you this cap. So you can see this cap, here's a screw-on cap. It's the middle of winter now, snow's fallen. My project has stretched on probably for 2+ months now, and after paying for 12-day delivery, after about 6 weeks, my drop bars have finally arrived. They weigh absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. Carbon. That's awesome. Hopefully they're not broken. We'll get them inside and have a look. So I ordered 12-day shipping for these so I could get my bike done. It's taken almost 6 weeks. But these things are so freaking light. The weight's listed as 300 grams. I'd be surprised if with the packaging it's even that. So the last step, get these babies open, make sure they're not damaged. The slowdown was not actually the Chinese shipping, it was the US Customs. They sat in US Customs doing nothing for freaking ages. So I've got my carbon drop bars just when I think I'm on the home stretch. My stem does not fit. The stem is too small. I don't even know where the handlebars that came from these are, so I'm going to need a different stem. I do have this other Ritchie stem here from my old road bike pull-off, but I don't know if it's the right size or not, so I'm going to take this off and see. If it's not, then have to buy a new stem. So I got the stem off. Looks like it fits. Nice tight fit there. So the other stem, if you can see, is angled up about 45 degrees. This is a flat one. I couldn't decide between the flat or the angled, so I guess the decision's been made for me. So I'm going to switch this one over now. Torque the seat and the drop bars. The drop bars, I'm not really sure if I've got that correct. I think you meant to, I'll get my finger, have this part running straight from the top of the stem to the end of the drop bar there. I think that's the correct way to do it. The seat post height's not fully determined yet. See, I've got the carbon seat post. I'm just gonna wait on that. I just set it at an approximate height. I'll set everything else up first and then play around with it. I'll use my Velo Fit to get the correct fit. I mean, the drop bars look really bad from this angle. It's probably more accurate to look at them like that. Now I've just got to put the shifters and the bar tape, hook up the brakes, and it's set to go. The completion of my bike has been delayed until this package here turned up from Tektro, the brake manufacturer, because I had to order, when I disassembled the bike, I accidentally threw out these nuts and bolts which lock the brake cable, pinch bolts, and made my entire bike brake useless. So I was looking at buying new brakes, and then finally after they got back to me and said, yeah, we've got the nuts, so send it to me, it's arrived, I can take them down and finish the bike now. This is the final product back home from the shops, from the local bike store. Had to do a few adjustments to get it running. So I'm just going to run over everything that I put on here and how much it cost. The only thing that's original, the frame and these calipers, I think you call them, for the disc brakes. Everything else was changed. So starting at the top, this is a Celitalia endurance saddle that I put on. I picked this up on Black Friday sale from Backcountry. I switched out the tube. This is a stem, sorry, this is a carbon stem. because it's carbon, I switched this out. It used to have one of those kind of quick release locks, so I switched it for this so that I don't over torque the stem. So this was changed as well. At the front end, I switched out, as you probably saw in one of my previous videos, I switched out this, this comes off my old road bike. The previous one wasn't the right size up here. Switched out these, for these drop bars that flare at 30 degrees. It's kind of hard to tell from the video. So these are carbon drop bars as well. So this is off an old road bike. I didn't buy this, I bought this. Down the front, it's the Sensah SRX Pros. It's a 1x11 group set, so it only shifts on this side. Sounds quite nice. I think it's a double click to go back and the one click to go forward. Down the back on the group set, I switched it out for an 1150 cassette. This is the SRX Pro derailleur. Up the front, it's a 44 tooth Senicx so it's a 1x11 setup. I'm actually going to take this chainring off and just replace it with a 44 tooth 3mm offset chainring, so just push the chain a little bit further in. That's still coming in the mail, but the bike's definitely rideable at the moment. I just, for the sake of it, replaced the rotors on the discs, but you can see that's basic disc brake over there. The wheels I bought off Facebook Marketplace. These are Rovel tubeless setup. The tires, Challenge brand tires. These are 38s, which I got on a Black Friday sale for $11 each, so that was a pretty good deal. Oh yes, this in here is one of those, carries tubeless plugs and a repair kit I put in the end. The pedals are just standard sort of SPD Shimano pedals. My wife had them on her Peloton bike, so I took them off that bike and put normal pedals, sold the Peloton because it was taking up too much space. And I had to replace the chain to fit the longer cassette. And so that is it. The bike is finished and ready to ride.